I've come to realize I really like Satan. No, not like that. I like Satan as a concept. Satan from the Bible is the adversary. In fact, Satan literally means adversary in Hebrew. Satan wasn't the red guy with the horns and the pitchfork and the lake of fire in the Bible. Instead, Satan was the opponent to God. In Job, Satan is the one who says, hey, I bet you that this guy won't still be faithful if you take away all his stuff. Satan is the one in Zechariah in the dream who is the prosecuting attorney against Joshua. Satan is the tempter, right? Satan is the Yankees to God's Red Sox, or is the Red Sox to God's Yankees, depending on where you happen to fall in that divide. So Satan is not supposed to be a specific entity, a person, a human-like celestial being or diabolical being, is that the opposite of celestial? Who's down there making plans, trying to destroy everything. But he's an imaginary character who represents all that. Evil is big. Greed, hunger, despair, disease, bad luck, asteroids from space. Each of those separate things is overwhelming when you see it as a massive panoply of opposing forces. But when you can make it Satan as one character, I can deal with one character. I don't care how powerful that one villain is. I can fight one single villain, even if it has all of the evil in the universe combined into that villain. It's still just one villain. And that's the concept of Satan, is taking all the evil forces in the universe and giving them one single name and one single identity. So when we think of it as good versus evil, God versus Satan, we have all-powerful, loving God against Satan. And again, both of these are conceptual concepts. When you really dive into the logic of it, if God was all-powerful and allows evil to happen, then he can't be good. So obviously God must have limitations. If God was all-powerful, Satan would be meaningless because God would just go, boom, he loses. They're conceptual concepts, but it's the idea of there is a good character. God represents things that are good, things that we want, the plan, the purpose of the universe. And there is an evil character, that is Satan. He's against whatever we're for. He wants to stop us from doing our work. He wants to create hatred, division, fear, distrust, discomfort, whatever. That's what he's doing. So it's not that there's actually a person of Satan. This is a concept. Now, am I saying there's no God? No. What I'm saying is that the divine God is so incomprehensibly great, massive, and powerful that our tiny little mushy meat brains can't possibly comprehend the greatness and power that is God and that is the divine. So we simplify it down to something simple, the man in the robes in the sky. The sky daddy, as some people joke. And that's our perception of the infinite divine. The problem comes when you make your imaginary model of the universe too real. And instead of simply saying, this is my model that I use to grasp the infinite awesomeness that is creation and the divine powers, and instead say, no, this is the way. This is what it really is, which happens when your ego is too fragile and your identity is too delicate, and anything around it, if touched slightly, is very dangerous to your personal identity. So my perception that I use of the divine, I use the Judeo-Christian God because that's what I grew up with, that's what I'm comfortable with. But it is no less valid than the Hindu pantheon or Allah, who's actually the Judeo-Christian God, presented in a slightly different way, or any of these other divine elements. And in fact, when you study other religions, you will find that they all say the same thing in different words and different names. And many of them have some kind of adversary, some type of opponent, because for all of us, no matter where we are or what we believe, the universe is infinitely complex and mostly incomprehensible. So we simplify it down so we can say a name. So we can say God, Allah, Yahweh, Saint Christopher, Vishnu, Kali. So we can have a word to describe it instead of saying the aspect of the infinite universal positive power which applies to rain. Too many words. So we pick one word. And Satan is the face, the name that we put on the evil stuff, the voice in your mind, the voice of doubt, and all that is bad. And that allows us to not be overwhelmed by it because it's just the one guy. You can always beat just one guy, even if that one guy actually encompasses all. So I don't like Satan. He's the bad guy. If you like Satan, you got a problem. But I like the concept of putting a name and a face on evil so that it's manageable and not infinite, incomprehensible, and overwhelming.